Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Patrick, everybody. Hey. Please take a seat, sir. Thanks for coming, DP.
Can I have your shirt, Dan?
You do?
No, he says, can I
have your shirt?
Oh, that happened a long time ago.
We've done
Is that a
before,
callback?
you know what I mean?
Are you going to go callback on Dan Patrick as he sits down?
Why not?
Okay.
Want me to take off my shirt?
We have taken a shirtless picture together before also.
Yes.
Yeah.
People. So many callbacks.
Why are you making this about you? And
I
Dan
wouldn't
just
take
sat
my
down?
shirt off that
What are you
night,
doing?
I'm not making it about me. It's about,
You got mad.
us. Rich, a moment for us.
I had my shirt off. Somebody had their pants off in this room.
Yes.
That would be Mike Del Tufo.
Yes.
Did not take his shirt off for the photo, though.
He didn't want to.
DJ Mikey D.
But that's how I proved to you
But he said, I won't take my shirt off,
take my
but
pants
I
off.
will take my pants off.
Yeah.
And I said, sure. Sounds like a win-win.
How you doing, Dan?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be. Good to be back here.
When'd you get here?
Saturday.
Okay.
What is today?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's Monday.
I
Yeah,
know, it is Monday.
Yeah, Saturday. But it was good. Went down to Venice Beach. Just did a drive-by.
Okay. Well, I know you rollerblade, don't you?
I
I
have rollerbladed before.
I know that. So,
But,
did you do that?
I did not
like
rollerblade.
Like Fletch back in the day down in Venice?
I don't rollerblade. You know, it was brought to my attention I should probably not rollerblade anymore. And my son says you embarrass the family that you
Come on.
rollerblade. But my daughters think it's pretty cool. But my wife said, I think we've outgrown the rollerblading thing.
So you didn't pack the rollerblades for
I did
for Los
not, but
Angeles.
you can rent them down at Venice Beach. But I went down there and I wanted to watch some pickup basketball.
Oh, okay.
And it was so funny because there's always the guy who's waiting for an NBA scout to come by. He just, it's like you go to karaoke and thinking Simon Cowell's going to show up and say,
it is Los Angeles.
Yeah. And this guy was dribbling behind his back. He was doing it. And so the guy guarding him is not moving. Because the guy's not moving. He's just dribbling behind his back, dribbling behind his back, dribbling behind his back. And the defensive guy is just going, like, come on. And he makes the shot, and then he starts to flatten. This is on the courts at Venice Beach. There's a DJ there who's...
Oh, what, you're confirming there's a DJ there?
Yeah.
Because Dan Patrick is here. And,
and
by the way, Dan Patrick here on the Rich Eisen Show, our terrestrial radio audience.
Yes,
he could. So I'm sorry. So you were at a
and I
pickup
watched
game.
this with
Right.
great fascination that these guys all think they can play. And some can, but they're auditioning, that for like an and one mixtape that could just break out at any moment here. And you're going, no, don't do it. Don't do it. But
did anybody have game? Anybody?
Yeah, there were a couple of guys that had game, but there's some bad basketball.
Any white men who did in fact jump and prove that they could jump?
No. There was one guy, a left-hander, had a headband, like bad outfits too. Like you just if you can't play, at least look like you can play. These guys couldn't play, and then the way they dressed, and then you had this guy with a headband, a left-hander, and he kept taking these shots, not even hitting iron sometime. Like you have to, guys getting banged in the head underneath the hoop. But I spent a good portion of the afternoon being entertained at Venice Beach.
Speaking about outfits, Dan Patrick here on the Rich Eisen Show. Did I see on your show to kick off Super Bowl week here in Los Angeles, Will Ferrell in a tiger outfit? Did he show up in a full Bengal situation?
No, he just did his face. He painted his face in the Bengal colors.
Okay. I only saw a headshot. So,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And so there it is. Okay.
And that's a Bobby Gritch patch on his on his jacket
in honor of one of the great
second
California
baseman,
angels of all time.
And I went, gosh, so there's the Bobby Gritch patch I've been looking for. I just was like, wow, okay. He gave a lot of thought to the patch, and then of course the makeup.
Yeah.
And he said that the Rams broke his heart when they left. Therefore, he has never forgiven them.
Oh, my.
And he's rooting for the Bengals.
He doesn't strike me as a grudge holder, Dan. I'll be honest with you.
I think he's sneaky mean.
He's sneaky grudge holder.
I think he is a sneaky prick. You know? No, he's
By the way, put that down for a fantasy team name,
Write that
please.
down real quick.
Yeah,
sneaky prick.
There you go.
He's such a generous guy. He truly is. He's a true generous person. So,
well, generosity is also to show up to a show like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
And it's just like that he's going to come next level. And I imagine like he wouldn't let you see him beforehand and just
No.
had to stroll out and you had to just
and I
roll with it.
wanted the natural reveal. And he got in there an hour before he was going on. And he said, I'm going to be in the back if you just leave me alone. And I said, good. And then he came out with his Bengal colors on.
Now, for you, though, I mean, were you a Bengal guy growing up, Dan?
I grew up
Were you?
in Zanesville, Ohio.
Right.
And we got that's when they had the Cleveland Browns. We didn't have the Bengals then. Then we moved to a small town outside of Cincinnati, Mason. And then the Bengals came to town. And I remember seeing Bob Trumpy play,
Sure.
Bruce Coslett play.
Sure.
The Bengals came in and had Greg Cook, who was Rookie of the Year quarterback, then got hurt. And we used to sneak into the games. They played at the University of Cincinnati. And I remember the first game I saw, the Chargers came to town. And those uniforms.
Sure.
So you had the
Totally.
Bengal uniforms that were horrible. And the Chargers came out. And I went, oh, my God, this is great. And I loved John Hadle and Dickie Post and Lance Allworth. And I was in love with those colors. And every time I see the Chargers, when they wear those colors, I'm like, brings back memories of going to see them. But yeah, I got to see a lot of, we used to go to games to see the teams coming in from out of town.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was a diehard Bengal fan. But then, I started covering them. When I covered the Bengals from a distance when I was working in Dayton, when Chris Collinsworth was a rookie. And I remember Collinsworth, after every home game,
Yeah.
I went right to his locker because he was
The
gold.
talker?
He
Okay.
was gold. He was always great. And, he's still the same,
Right.
a talker. But they were Anthony Munoz. I was able to be around. I went to the coldest football game in history.
That freezer
game
bowl.
against the Chargers.
The Chargers again.
Oh, my God. If I bet back then, or I had money back then, when the Chargers came out of the tunnel and the Bengals offensive linemen, like Max Montoya, they were sleeveless. And if you could have seen the Chargers' faces, if you could have said, hey, you guys are going to lose by like a field goal, but you can go right back in the tunnel, get on the plane and go home. They probably would have went, okay,
Yeah.
we'll take our chances going back home and not playing in this game, because they had no chance. It made you cry. If you could cry, you couldn't because your tears would freeze up.
Yeah.
But if you could have cried that day with the weather, you would have. It was.
No kidding.
It was. They should never have played that football game.
Really?
Oh my God. Wind chill factor.
Yeah.
I knew a cameraman. And your cameraman has to have. The fingers got to be
Yeah,
there
sure.
for the. He lost his pinky. Frostbite. Had to have it taken off.
Get out for shooting the game? Wow. Damn.
It was that cold.
And then they made the Super Bowl and saw Montana there, and then they made another Super Bowl, saw Montana there.
But they
and-
at least played competitive.
Yes.
Both of those Super Bowls,
They did.
they really took the Niners, to the end, and give credit to Montana. Even the game in Detroit when they lost to Montana, they at least and it was weird. I was watching the Chiefs game and it was 21-3, and my wife goes, "You're going to watch?" I said, "I just don't want them embarrassed." Because I don't root for the Bengals.
Yeah.
I don't root against them. I root for the people of Cincinnati who, whenever I would say I was from Cincinnati, they would always go, "Oh, the Bungles." Always. First thing they'd say, "Oh, the Bungles."
Right.
And you go, "Yeah, the Bungles." And they finally got their quarterback, and they got some magic here, and I just didn't want them embarrassed against Kansas City, and it was painful. Then I would just check my phone, and then my wife would go, "Just go watch it." And I go, I can't. And then it was 21-10. And I go, okay, we're not going to get blown out. And then my wife goes, "You said we." I go, ah.
There you go.
And then I went down, and all of a sudden I'm watching, and it went into overtime, and I had to walk away. And my wife goes, "Wait, isn't this important?" I go, "Yes. Tell me what happens." So it came back to, I was a fan again. And when I started at SportsCenter, I gave up being a fan because I thought it was only fair if I was covering the Steelers,
Sure.
that I was going to be fair to the Steelers instead of somebody saying, well, he's a Bengal fan.
Dan Patrick here. Hour 3 coming up, but keep going, Dan.
Okay.
No,
never
go,
mind.
no, keep going.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm saying goodbye to the radio audience. You know how this
see
works.
you guys.
No. They're
Wait,
already gone.
they're gone?
Keep going.
That's
Yeah,
it?
I'm sorry.
Where
Keep
you
going.
going?
I'm just
Terrestrial.
I'm just
I'm not allowed
just trying to do my job.
I'm not allowed to touch the trophy.
I have these here. Just
You
in
know
case
I don't
you're
wear
gonna
those
do that.
gloves.
I know. I have these here.
I know,
just
but
in
I don't
case
wear-
No, I have these here to wipe down the evidence.
Oh, okay.
That's what I have.
Yeah, because I've gotten in trouble before.
No. I had these here, and I mentioned before, as you were on your way over here, that the trophy's here, and that you've touched it before
I have
because
handed
you've
that
handed
out.
it out.
Yeah.
Okay, and that I
They
had
didn't
these-
say, hey, got to wear white gloves.
No, because you're handing it to the winner. So
Well, when the guy brings out the Stanley Cup, he has the white gloves on.
the NFL just doesn't. I don't know. This is here just in case.
Okay.
And I definitely said you would touch it because you feel compelled to do it. And plus, it makes me uncomfortable. So I find you laughing at that because that's probably true. That I find it makes me uncomfortable.
Well, here's the
so.
thing. When they say you handed out the trophy, I didn't hand out the trophy because I didn't hold the trophy to hand the trophy.
So you've never handled this trophy before, is what you're
I've
saying.
been on the podium
right,
with said trophy.
Yes.
But that trophy, the commissioner, I think they put it up on a little whatever
pedestal.
Yeah. And the commissioner then gives it to the owner or something. But my job, the first time I did it, Joe Namath was coming up, and through all of these people, and they're all touching the trophy, and they get up to the podium, and I'm trying to interview the commissioner. Well, I'm trying to communicate with the commissioner of what he needs to say and what I'm going to say, and I introduce you, and then I hand you the mic, those kind of things. So I'm up there for the presentation of the trophy, but not actually handing out it sounds more impressive when you hand out the trophy.
Well,
and I don't correct people normally, but with you I can.
Joining me here for another segment is one of my favorites. I've known this man for a long time. I don't even know how to introduce you. The host of the Dan Patrick Show that precedes us on NBC Sports on Peacock every single day, as well as on NBC Sports Audio, SiriusXM Channel 85. Good to see you, DP.
Good to see you.
Okay.
How are the kids, by the way?
Everybody's good.
Good.
Everybody's good. We're going to take. I think we're going to leave Tay at home this week. My 8-year-old daughter. SoFi. Have you been in SoFi Stadium?
I have not.
It is. Are you staying for the game or you're not?
I'm not.
Okay.
Because I had to do the show on Monday
morning. You got to get
back
out
home.
Yes. It is a beautiful stadium, but for a kid, it is sensory overload. Like it is a wipeout. They don't watch the game. They watch they watch the screen above the stadium. And
Well, it's like when you go to a Cowboy game.
Exact. When I was the first time I was in that stadium, it was for that Super Bowl where Aaron Rodgers and the Packers won and beat the Steelers. I remember thinking to myself, I'm watching the game on the screen. I'm like, how lucky am I to be at a Super Bowl? Look at the damn people on the field. Like, what are you doing? But you just stare at that thing, and so. But anyway, we're gonna take Coop and Zan. How are your kids?
They're all good. They're all good. I had the Packer fan, my son, got crushed. But my daughters don't have any interest other than that it was in L.A. and they would love to go to L.A. And I said, no,
shut it down.
I need a little bit more evidence that you care about football.
You got to tighten the rotation for the playoffs, Dan.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing in our household. You got to tighten the rotation.
Yeah.
Like Riley, to win a championship,
No,
you got to tighten the rotation.
my middle daughter said, hey, I'd love to go to the Super Bowl. I said, who's in it? She goes, 2 teams. Okay. All right.
It sounds like the movie Diner. Like you got a quiz in the
quiz.
basement. You got to pass the quiz to at least get to the title here.
And you know what? My wife doesn't know sports, but I love that she doesn't know sports because I come home and it's not like she'll go, hey, how about that Brady news? Huh?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, we talk about a lot of other things. And my daughters don't follow sports, but then they blame me now because they'll meet boys who want to talk sports, but then they don't know sports. So
Why do they blame you?
because I didn't somehow expose them to sports.
Or you didn't want to force it down their throat?
No, I gave them that opportunity and they had no interest. But I'm these guys who ask them out on dates think that they know sports. And
well,
they
certainly
don't.
when they find out who dad is. I mean, and plus you can also, I don't know, you can say to your kids, there's a little show called Sports Center, that I used to be on, and
Google it. Yeah.
Find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly that this news is breaking right now, and it's something I'm sure you'll be talking about on your show tomorrow. It's crazy how in this 21st century, people gather news or glean news from who's unfollowing anybody on all of their social media accounts. But apparently, 15 minutes ago, that somebody noticed, what is it,
someone noticed this last night, actually.
Last night?
Late.
Okay.
So this quarterback, guys, played in the Pro Bowl, was having an MVP type year. You may have heard of him. Kyler Murray scrubbed everything Cardinals related from his Instagram page. 1.3 million followers.
What's up with that? How do you glean from this other than the fact that what? What is he?
Unhappy. Wants
about
out.
What? They've given him everything
Doesn't
he wants,
like
don't you
Cliff's
think?
offense.
Oh, you're just stirring the pot. You don't know
Well,
this
yeah,
for
no,
sure.
I don't know any of it for sure. But
Can you make anything
all of a
out
sudden
this?
he's gone and deleted all his pictures and everything that he had to do with the Cardinals?
That's specific. That takes doing.
Was this after he threw the pick 6 in the Pro Bowl that he decided to do that?
It was noticed last night.
Did he blame the offensive coordinator in the Pro Bowl?
Possible.
I don't know. I mean, I had my infamous run-in with him at the Super Bowl in Atlanta when he just sat there and didn't answer any questions.
Well, that's because he was put out in front of the media by whoever he was.
Gatorade.
Yeah, right. And he had yet to announce whether he was going to play football or baseball. And we had a similar thing because we were just down the hall from you.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing is he came to us first. We pre-taped him, and then he was on your show. We warmed him up for you. He was warmed up, Dan. Dan, we warmed him up and sent him down the hallway. Already talked. He was already in the business of talking, and that happened. And then all of a sudden, it goes viral. What he was doing on your show, and we're like, well, get ready for us to press play on this thing later on. He wouldn't say a word.
No, and I
about all that.
Remember talking to two NFL teams, two people who worked with two different teams, and they said it made them reconsider, his draft status.
Right.
Even though they thought, okay, he'll probably go number 1, but that personality scared them. That he wasn't talking, and why wasn't he talking, and somehow it became that teams took that interview,
right?
If you want to call it an interview, and because they're always looking for somebody who loved the game, somebody a leader, somebody
red flags,
great communicator. Yeah, they're always looking for something. It's what's the red flag? He didn't answer Dan Patrick's questions. We're not taking him. Well. But I subsequently had an interview with him where he made fun of that. He was, he had personality, he made fun of it.
What else can you do after that, right? I mean,
yeah.
So.
But I don't know if, wasn't Cliff his guy? And
I guess so. And the crazy thing is that, usually when you're drafted first, just ask Matthew Stafford, okay? I mean, ask Matthew Stafford, who's now in year 13. He's finally making it to the Super Bowl, had to go in and have, an epiphany moment and share it with his wife. As a group, as a family, then decide, we are going to press the button of I want out of here. We want out of here. And it's emotional. It's so tough. And he did it. Just ask him how long it takes. How many people get DeAndre Hopkins and the A.J. Green and, James Conner and have all of these folks around you? Let's add Watt. I mean, I don't know what this could be. You have to view that something pissed him off. I mean, to cleanse an account like that, I mean, you could have somebody do it, but at least it's the decision of do it because people are going to read into it.
But he still has his Oakland A's account, so.
Oh, my word. I bet that start to look for it. No, yeah. I mean, because
he's not following the Cardinals either.
How about this, though? Let's just say this. You add him to the mix of wanting out and add him to the mix of the quarterback carousel. What happens then? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you want to add him. What do you do with that information? because the Cardinals wouldn't do anything like that. And I don't know.
Well, I still wonder if, Matthew Stafford was going to end up with Carolina. And
Carolina would not be in the Super Bowl this week, though.
They would not be. But, you look at these things that something happens or it didn't happen, and then what the end result would be. The Rams go all in. And Stafford, you don't want to be the bad guy. You want the team to say, you know what, it's a mutual parting. This benefits the Lions, and Matthew is given all of this. It's like Seattle's going to come to this fork in the road with Russell Wilson. Because I think Russ is going to ask the Seahawks to do for him what the Lions did for Matthew Stafford. Like, you guys are going in a different direction. At my age, I want to play for somebody else, or this is where I want to play. And you don't want to be the bad guy, because I don't know this, but I don't think Russ and Pete Carroll, that you want to continue to try to make that work, because I think it hasn't worked. I think it's worked sometimes because of and in spite of. And I could see Russ going, you know what? Let me go. I'm going to cost you this amount of money. Let me go. I want to play someplace else. And it goes back to the Super Bowl, where he was the Walter Payton Man of the Year, watching Mahomes and Brady playing a Super Bowl. He's like, what am I doing here?
I was about to say that we'll know he's unhappy if you book him for the Tuesday after the Super Bowl on the Dan Patrick Show.
But what's interesting about that is we were going to have him on Friday
of Super Bowl week.
Okay. And he couldn't do it. But he said, I promise when I get back from the Super Bowl, I'll do it. Well, we didn't get him Monday, and then he said, I'll do Tuesday. Well, because he was there at the Super Bowl watching Mahomes and Brady, I think it just reinstalled that. Yeah. What am I doing here?
Well, they showed a shot of him in the commissioner's
booth. He looked
miserable. He's the Walter Payton Man of the Year, which is the most prestigious honor you can get.
Yeah.
In many ways, obviously MVP is one thing, but this is viewed by so many people as, you get a patch. There's no MVP patch on your jersey.
But I think
miserable.
I think he's looking at now it's my legacy. I've been in 2. I've won 1. I'm watching Mahomes. He ain't going away. Brady's probably not going away. Brady got to pick a roster. Like, what am I doing in Seattle playing in games where it's 19-13 with 2 minutes to go and they want me to win the game? Let me go and have some fun. And I think because of that weekend, and I even said to him, I said, man, you looked miserable, because he did. And then all of a sudden, I brought up a stat. I said, man, I was looking that you've been sacked on an average of 43 times per game or year. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and then all of a sudden, he opened the door. And Russell Wilson doesn't open the door when you interview him. It's really rare. And all of a sudden, I caught myself saying, wait, do you want to be traded? Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, I don't know. And I went, okay, now we're having an interview. Now it's a conversation. Now it got real.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, all right, let me go. Let me see how far he'll let me go in there, because I was sort of reinforcing what he already probably believed, that why am I out there getting sacked 45 times a game? And, they want me to win these games. And maybe you have a coach who wants to have the running game and another Legion of Boom, and it just doesn't work. But there are those moments when, during an interview, you go, oh, wow, okay, we got something here. That's Scottie Pippen, when Scottie Pippen was on.
Oh, my word.
And because people, when Scottie had the comments about Kevin Durant, and he's just talking about Kevin Durant and criticizing Kevin Durant, which I thought, okay, Scottie, if he wants to criticize, he's an analyst or... And then he started talking about the Tony Kukoc play, and Phil wanted Tony basically to take the live shot because Tony's white. And I'm thinking, nobody is picking up on this. They want to get the Kevin Durant part of this. I go, he's calling Phil Jackson a racist. And I said, get Scottie on, because I want to ask him. And then when I asked him, I said, are you calling Phil Jackson a racist? He said, yes. And then sometimes you get these answers. A lot of times you ask questions, you know what the answers are, or at least you have an idea.
Yeah.
That's one of those where I went, oh, wow, you just called Phil Jackson a racist.
Now it's on in terms of you having to be on your P's and Q's and also continue the conversation in a way where, it doesn't go off the rails, because it could potentially go off the rails there.
Well, I didn't want to.
Because if you don't push back or you don't also delve into it a little bit more, now you own it. That's part of the interviewing.
Well, even when I said,
trade.
well, Phil had Steve, or, Michael Jordan, defer to Steve Kerr for the last shot in the Utah game. He goes, oh, Michael did that for the cameras. So he's saying Michael purposely wanted Steve Kerr to take the jumper from the foul line because the cameras were on him with that documentary. And I go, wow, this is deep. And so I was trying to help Scotty there because I thought, I don't know if he knows what he's saying.
Right.
And for years covering those, NBA finals, we didn't talk to Scotty that much. It'd be Phil or Michael after a game.
Yeah.
We didn't have Scotty. I mean, Scotty sort of got lost. Nobody knew his thoughts on anything.
Yeah.
And now he's getting his victory tour, if you want to call it. But it I don't know. I hate seeing it because, you had this.
Yeah.
You had something special. And keep that. Hold on to that.
Right.
Michael's not your friend. Michael wasn't anybody's friend. Michael, you already knew this, but I think Scotty getting embarrassed in the documentary, and then that was it. He was done. And I do understand that. If you're Michael, Scottie Pippen, you're watching that documentary, and you're thinking, all right, hey, kids, Mike's going to say some nice things about me.
Oh, God.
And, I mean, how crushing would that be?
Beyond.
Crushing. And I think that was the breaking point for Scotty. But you get these athletes sometimes, and you don't know if they're going to give you an honest answer.
So my question for you, Dan Patrick, is which one do you prefer where you get that news breaking moment that is wild and you have to realize it in the moment and, for the lack of a better phrase, deal with that, or somebody paying fealty to Qualcomm or Kyler Murray not answering the question and that's going to go viral as well. Dan. This is your sports talk radio moment. You have to choose. You can't just ride the fence. Like, which one are you?
When you get something that's truly honest, like Kyler Murray was just awkward. It was just, it became like I was waiting for Ashton Kutcher to come out and say, you've been punked. And you got me, Ashton.
Well, I mean, are you saying that the Dark Knight was not paying fealty to Qualcomm at the during that interview years ago, Dan? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, so we booked Matt Harvey. And
okay, here you go.
He's got surgery. He's coming back, whatever. And I was like, all right, I'll try Matt Harvey. I've never had him on before. I have him on. And I started asking questions, and then he didn't want to talk about his injury. He goes, I'll talk about it some other time. I'm just here to honor Qualcomm's, I go, what? And I thought, oh, wait, this cannot be happening. So I said, you know how this works, Matt? Like, I ask you questions and then give you the opportunity to talk about what you're promoting. And you understand? I don't think he'd done many interviews. Hang up the phone. PR person is calling Fritzy. We're going to have him back on tomorrow. And then that exploded. It was like crazy. Mm-hmm. And that one was, I felt bad because sometimes these guys don't realize the quid pro quo. But if you said something in the moment, honest in the moment, Russell Wilson, because Russ doesn't do that. And when he did it, then I realized that, all you want is somebody to give you the opening.
Sure.
And if they do, then you can do a good interview. Because somebody say, oh, you ask great questions.
Right.
And I said, no, it's do I get great answers? Because my question can be great. Mm-hmm. But if your answer's not great, then is it a great question?
And I guess to bring it all full circle here, is that if, let's just say, Stafford wins, and the reason why he wins this week is because he did, in fact, decide I'm going to go for it and leave my situation, and that was inspired by Brady. And Russell Wilson was inspired by Brady to start thinking about maybe I should go somewhere else. Maybe Stafford would be the next piece of evidence for him or for Rodgers or for maybe what's going on with Kyler Murray, unfollowing people right now. it's kind of crazy that Brady 2 years ago might be a seismic event unless Joe Burrow says, I'm the next Brady. So here we go. Like that, in a way, is Super Bowl 56, what we're seeing play out writ large. Maybe.
Well, I think if Stafford wins the Super Bowl and performs well, he'll go to the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. If Joe Burrow wins a Super Bowl, he's halfway to the Hall of Fame. You win another one, you're in the Hall of Fame. So you look at it from sort of the top of the Christmas tree down, start with the quarterbacks and the importance of that. And I think if Joe Burrow in his second year wins the Super Bowl, so now all of a sudden you've leapfrogged quite a few of these quarterbacks. And now you're in a conversation with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and rightfully so.
Yes.
But I asked Peter King about this. If we voted at the end of the year on the MVP and the Bengals won, and he said Joe Burrow would be your MVP.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if we had votes on MVPs at the end of seasons, all seasons,
right?
Baseball, basketball, football,
to include the whole thing.
How different it would be, because I always voted for Jordan for MVP every year. Well, I just said, I'm voting for Michael. Yeah. And I had Barkley win it and Karl Malone win it. And I had the fans or media in those cities going, how can you do that? You know, Barkley had a better year, or Karl Malone did. I said, but Michael's going to win the championship. Right. It was really easy.
You have legs. You're going to have legs.
He's the MVP because he's going to win the NBA championship. They go, well, you don't know that. I go, that's what I'm banking on. That's value.
So what's your pick for the Super Bowl?
I can't see the Rams losing a game at home, but I would like to see the Bengals win. So,
kid from Ohio, everybody.
Yeah, you know what? It's a big deal. Those people have been through a lot. They it's an organization that doesn't spend money. They usually hire coaches on the cheap, but they finally found their quarterback. And if you think back, how many franchises have Kenny Anderson, Boomer Esiason, and Joe Burrow, Carson Palmer? Like, those are four franchise quarterbacks that you got.
Right.
And Kenny Anderson, to me, is a borderline Hall of Famer. They've had those things. They just haven't that surrounding group. And you'll hear from Chris Collinsworth today. He'll tell you Jamar Chase, he thinks, will be one of the great wide receivers of all time and the greatest Bengal wide receiver of all time already. Mm-hmm. But you're going to win and lose this game because of your offensive line. I mean, I think that the Rams' approach will be like Tampa Bay's approach to Kansas City.
Last year.
We're just, here we come.
Here we go.
Deal with us. And, they're going to put as much pressure on Joe Burrow as possible. And, can you survive 9 sacks again? And I just don't see that happening. But it would be a wonderful story if Joe wins and the Bengals.
DP, thanks for coming here. I will be on your show tomorrow to complete the home and home. Go ahead, just touch it. I knew you would touch the trophy. I knew you would just leave your finger. I knew you'd
I had a
do that.
burrito earlier.
There you go. All right. So
I was gonna
disrespectful.
Maybe take a picture here.
Here, I'll smile for you. There you go. All right, there you go.
There's Rich Eisen, and there we go.
Jeez, all right.
There we
he put
go.
it in portrait mode. I'm sure I'm blurry in the background. Good to see you, DP.
Hey, are we gonna take my shirt off tonight? You take your pants off tonight?
Yes.
Collinsworth's on hold right now saying, what is happening?
Wait,
Come on.
All right.
Is that a yes or no?
Yeah, I think it was night 1 in that Super Bowl.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, we have to.
Well,
Let's talk.
all right.
DP, I'll see you in the
Thank
morning.
you, buddy.
There you go. Dan
All right.
Patrick,
See you guys.
everybody. We'll
Thank
see
you,
Dan.
man.
We'll be on Dan's show tomorrow every day from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.